Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to another video on Forgotten Weapons. Today we're taking a look at the final prices from last week's Rock Island auction. This was their April of 2016 premiere auction, and hoo boy, there was a lot of very cool early developmental prototype neat stuff in there. In fact, we can start right here. The T3E2 Garand went for just over $170,000, which is pretty mind-blowing, at least to me. I should point out these prices are with the 15% buyer's premium, so this is not the final price when the auctioneer hit the hammer, but what the buyer was actually paying. By the way, speaking of Garands, that Japanese Type 4 Garand also went way higher than, well, than I had expected and higher than their estimate. However, there were still some cool things that went for prices that different class of folks can afford. So my favorite, the little Brun Lottridge squeeze trigger pistol, actually was a pretty affordable piece in this auction. That Devisme revolver as well went for something a little bit less astronomical. Now, let's see, the Hamadas, some pretty rare pistols, got a bunch of Japanese stuff, bunch of German stuff as well, and in particular, actually, we also had this Pattern 1913. I actually talked to a couple different people who were really interested in this one. That's a gorgeous rifle, and I think a really interesting piece of British history. Now here we're getting into the Walthers. They all actually went for about what the estimates were, which is, well, astronomical for most of us. German firearms are a particularly interesting niche to a lot of collectors. There's a lot of demand for them, and this was a series of really scarce early developmental Walthers. So I didn't really find any of these sale prices surprising. Now, that's the sort of thing that I like to get my hands on and get on video so that we can all see those things, despite the fact that they are now, who knows where they're going. They're going into some private collection somewhere. The VG2, another interesting German piece, late war instead of pre-war. And that VG2 is one of the scarcer Volkssturm rifles. The VG1 seem to turn up more often. Interesting 1923 Thompson. The sporting version of the Heinemann rifle made by Walther went pretty high. This CZ prototype went way higher than the estimates as well. We only had one in this batch of videos that didn't sell. That was the Thompson T2. There are a number of reasons that something like that could happen. Most likely, buyer had a reserve price on it that wasn't met. But I don't know. I have no idea what the bidding actually got to on that gun. A couple of Japanese prototype Pedersens. As I had kind of expected, the straight Pedersen copy went for a lot more money than the gas-operated one, despite the fact the gas-operated one is probably the better functioning rifle, just not the prettier rifle. A couple of cool Reifgrabers. We took a look at a really junked out one of those before, and we can end it on a high note with that super-duper fancy Pinfire. Oh, and of course, the deer heads that were staring at me the whole time went for some pretty good money themselves. Thanks for watching. Tune back in a couple months. We'll have another premiere auction from Rock Island.